Hey there, TKO family! Welcome to another episode of TKO Teaches You How To. I'm your host, Miranda, and today we are going to be talking about gang sheets. So for starters, what exactly is a gang sheet? Well, you may have noticed on our website that most of our formulas come in either single image or a gang sheet. A gang sheet basically is just multiple designs printed on one sheet versus a single image that is just one design printed on one sheet. So, gang sheets can be used for multiple reasons. You can have tagless labels like with Premium Plus, you can have a larger image, or you could just be printing multiple different kinds of designs on one sheet to save money. So, they're a very cost-effective way to print in small batches usually, versus printing a bunch of different orders that would all be single image. Now, in the past month, we've actually launched a brand new product that I'd like to bring your attention to. This is Extreme Color Digital, the direct-to-film transfer. This is the first direct-to-film that TKO has ever offered. We have mostly screen-printed plastisol as our base product. And with the addition of Extreme Color Stretch and Extreme Color Blocker earlier this summer, we now have Extreme Color Digital, our first direct-to-film. Direct-to-film is perfect for small businesses because direct-to-film makes it super easy to print in small batches, which means we are able to offer all of the benefits from extreme color that you love, the photorealistic designs, the gradients, the fine lines and details, all of those beautiful qualities that you love about extreme color is now in a direct-to-film, where you don't have to pay a setup fee for any screens to be made, and you don't have to order any minimums. That's game-changing. So, let's find out if DTF can actually be a winning solution for your business. It comes in all gang sheets, but I'll explain why in just a moment. If you look over here under the job, we have here 22 by 12, which is our smallest gang sheet that we offer here in the DTF section. And there is no minimum. Obviously, we have the one piece plugged in because if you're ordering, you're going to at least order one, but we don't require any minimums. And there's no setup fee because there's no screen being created. You can see that the cost per product is going to be $15.84. And let's say you want to order 5 of those, right? Add 5 to cart, see what happens. $79.20, and the cost per product stays the same. It's still $15.84. So, this is a very cost-effective, very easy way of printing in small batches. On top of that, if you see 22 by 12, 22 by 24, 22 by 48, and 22 by 96, these are all extremely large gang sheets compared to what TKO normally offers. So, this could really save you money, because you're getting more for your money. Now, let's talk uploading the artwork for these babies. Well, I have 3 things that you should keep in mind when you're uploading gang sheets. Number 1, when you're uploading your artwork, you should treat a gang sheet the same as you would a single image. You want to have all of the designs laid out before you submit anything. You want to have it all on a single JPEG or a single PNG before you upload it, because you can't upload multiple images. And even if you're using art services, you'd have to email all those images to art services and have them mock up the gang sheet. This is so much better. Trust me, it saves so much time and it's super simple to do, and I'm here to teach you how to. So, when you're doing that, you're going to create a single PNG and JPEG. You want to make sure that the resolution is at least 300 dpi when uploading. I'm going to repeat that. 300 dpi is the minimum resolution that your images need to be at, because if you submit it in a low quality resolution, you're going to get low quality prints. And it's not really our fault on our end at that point, because the file that you submitted is the one that had no resolution to it. You need to have the minimum resolution, or the prints will just be low quality. It won't be what you're paying for, it won't be what you want, and no one's going to be happy at that point. So please, 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 always make sure 300 dpi, that is your minimum resolution. Lastly, we want to make sure that you remember that your artwork prints at the size of the image that you submit and not the sheet size. Because if you think that this is going to print directly at 22 by 12 and you submit, let's say, a 4 by 4 image, as you can clearly see in the resize video that we posted a while ago, that won't work. You won't get your money's worth, and you'll be very disappointed with the final result, I can guarantee you. So, when it comes to gang sheets, we want to make sure that we're laying everything out, that we are making sure that the sheet size is the same as our image size, and so on. We want to make sure everything is aligned. The stars are all aligned to make your prints absolutely gorgeous. Now, here's where it gets tricky. This is a gang sheet. This is an example gang sheet that I have mocked up for you today, and we are actually going to work on mocking up another one just like this. Now, you're probably wondering why they're all laid out in such a way. Well, you want to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck, and this is the best way to do it. You want to make sure that you fill the entire sheet. So if you have to switch orientations of designs, if you need to space them a certain way, go ahead and do it, because this is the best part of mocking it up yourself, is you have full control over how your designs are laid out, you have full control of the sizing, and as long as it's meeting that minimum resolution, you're probably good to go for good prints. However, to make sure that your prints are going to look absolutely stellar, I would recommend personally, as a seasoned designer, that you should always do a print test. That means that you're going to want to print your image separately at the size that you want it to be printed, and you want to see how it looks on paper. You want to see how those colors are looking, how the lines are looking, how your vector art works when it's printed. So that way you know where those fine details are that you need to maybe refine a little more before you send it in. That's one of the most important parts, and one of the best tips I could probably give you for this is always do a print test. Now, when we are going to start making this gang sheet, we want to first do resizing for our images. So let's say this right here is a 22 by 12. It's the smallest gang sheet, like I said, under the DTF. Go up here, you can see it, 22 by 12. If you go back in here, you can see that I've laid the designs out in such a way that it makes sense. It all fits, everything seems pretty evenly spaced for the most part. And this unfortunately requires a little bit of math. You have to kind of estimate the size of your design versus the size of the sheet. You have to know how many of these designs you can fit on one sheet before it's completely full, or you're probably going to end up placing things in ways that it just won't print right. You won't take up the whole sheet. So you want to make sure that you're resizing your images just right. I have two images here, just as an example today, for the gang sheet layout. Number 1 is a 2 by 2, which is just a skull image with a pirate. Number 2 is a 4 by 4, which is a how deep is your love shark. So first off, I'm going to show you how we actually set up this sheet. I'm going to go into File, New, and you want to make sure right here, we're going to title this first. We're going to put gang sheet layout. Okay. We want to make sure that instead of pixels, we're doing inches. And I'm going to lay it out exactly the way that I had it. So we're going to do the width being 22 inches and the height being 12. 300 is the minimum resolution. The pixels per inch has to be at least 300. And then the background contents, I'm going to keep it transparent. And we're just going to hit create. And now we have a fresh, brand new gang sheet. So this is the part that I'm going to have possibly sped up at some point here, because I know you're not going to want to watch me lay out all of these designs. However, I am going to show you some tips and tricks. Number 1, always, and I mean always, name any layer that you create, because that is going to help immensely in understanding where the designs are and which ones you're editing. Another tip I can give you is always create a new layer. Now, when you automatically are just printing and pasting and copying and pasting and doing whatever you please with this sheet, every time you add an image, there should be a new layer created. So that should be happening automatically. And when it does, you should always name the layer. just like I did for background. So that's something I wanted to touch on before we get started. So let's take our 2x2 image. We're going to do Control A to select all, Control C to copy, and then we're going to go over here and click Control V to paste. Now I want to just explain real quick that this, you have to remember, this sheet is 12 by 22. This is a 2x2 image. So you are literally seeing how big that image is going to be on this gang sheet when it's printed. That's why it looks so teeny tiny. Okay. Now as you can see, one thing here I want you to notice that has already happened is this image is not on its own layer. It's on the background layer. So that's why it's so important to make sure you're using different layers all the time. Let's call this guy Skull 1, right? And we're going to just Control A, Control X to cut. We're going to make sure we're on Skull 1 layer, and then Control V to paste. And he is back in business. Okay. And we're just going to lay him out right there. Now we're going to create a couple others of him, and the way that we're going to do this is we're just going to hit Control V and it pastes another one. And you want to always be checking that there's a brand new layer here. This one you can call SK2 because typing out Skull 1, Skull 2, Skull 3, it's going to be very tedious. Now here is something that I want to touch on because I've had this conversation with a couple of our customers on the phones here and there. When you are doing a layout like this for the gang sheets, a lot of them ask how much space do we have to have between the design and the edge of the design, or the edge of the sheet, and how much space needs to be between designs. Well, I would say it's a preference depending on how close you want it to the edge, because you can actually take this image edge and put it right on the edge of the gang sheet and it'll still print just fine. But let's say you accidentally place it where it's a little cut off at the top, like that. You're going to end up with a cut off design. So me personally, I have a preference where I like to leave a little bit of space at the top, at the sides, at the bottom, just to make sure that the designs aren't going to get cut off, because that's just, it's awful. It's an awful day when that happens to anybody. So to avoid a bad time, I would say try to keep at least a little bit of space there. Now, in between designs, you just want to keep enough space for cutting. That's usually about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Now, that we have that taken care of, let's keep going. We're going to make sure we're on Skull Layer 2. We are going to click V, paste. Now, this is something I also want to point out. You might be seeing the pink lines on my screen that say 66px. That is actually, those are guides. So if you ever use Photoshop, you're going to notice that guides appear when you're moving things around. Let's say I want to move it over here. You can see that the guides change and they show me how close or how far away or how aligned all of these are together. You can just see the line references happening here. That's something that you want to pay attention to when you're spacing designs. So now that we have the basics down, I think I'm going to speed this part up and show you the final product afterwards, because this is going to take a while. Okay, so now that I have the first layer of sharks laid out, and I have all of the skulls laid out, I'm going to teach you a trick on how you can kind of keep all of these aligned and not have to lay out all of them individually anymore for another row. So what we're going to do is we're going to take from layer 5, where the sharks began, we're going to shift, select up to layer 9, where the sharks end. We're going to right click, merge layers. And now we have all of our shark designs on one layer. Rectangular marquee tool. And we are going to just box the sharks. I'll make sure I get all of those designs. We're going to click Control C to copy, Control D to deselect, and then Control V to paste. And you can see now we have a whole nother row here of sharks. And using our guides, we're going to space them just right. I'm going to do maybe 2 squares between each design for cutting purposes, but they should be perfectly aligned now. They're perfectly apart in every which way. It's all equal, it's all clean, beautiful, with minimal hassle. However, now you can also do this exact same trick that we did with the 2 layers of the sharks here, the 2 layers of sharks. We can take layers 6 and 5, and we can do a shift select both layers, right click merge layers. We can take the rectangular marquee, and we want to make sure we're not getting that top row of designs, we just want these 2. Control C again, Control D to deselect, and then Control V to paste. And we have 2 more sharks that are in that exact same orientation, and we can space them exactly the same if we would like to. And this is one of the easiest ways, I think, to move designs around, to kind of adjust where you want them. We could probably make these closer together or farther apart if they were all individuals, but at the end of the day, you just want to make sure that there's enough space for cutting. That's why spacing is important. You just want to make sure that you can cut the designs, and we can cut the designs even if you need us to have all of that space that is necessary to not cut off your designs when we're cutting them. So that gutter space is extremely important, and try to keep it as consistent as you can between designs when you're building your gang sheet. Otherwise, you might have these 2 a little too close to each other and so on. Use those guides to your advantage. So let's see how we did. I don't think we did too bad. I think we almost replicated it completely the same. So let's take this now. I'm going to show you how to export it. We're going to go to File, Export, Export As. You want to make sure that the format is either PNG or JPEG, which is the JPG. I like PNG because PNG tends to not change any of its format settings when you send it. It's just like a PDF. For written documents, they tend to not change anything about their formatting. And then obviously the width, the height, that's all going to line up with the sizing, the 22 by 12. And then, yes, I think we are good to go. So we're going to hit export. I'm going to export it to this folder where I have all my other designs. And now I'm going to show you the final results of everything that we just did. I know this was a long video. Thank you for bearing with me because I am certain this is going to help you out a lot. So this is the one that we just did. We're going to open it. And voila! Just like that, you can see that our sheet size is the exact same as our image. And all of the designs look laid out beautifully. They don't look like they're getting cut off. Everything is spaced nicely. And just like that, we have 19 designs on one sheet, ready to go, ready to print for DTF. And if this is all I wanted, if I just wanted these 19 designs, that's all I would have to buy, and it is only $15.84 per product. That is a game changer for any business. Alright, so thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for bearing with me. I know this was a long video, everybody, and I know it was a long time in waiting for it to come out. But let me know what you think. If you found this helpful, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe for any further tutorials that we post on TKO Teaches You How To. I'm your host, Miranda Matos, and thank you so much for watching.